thanks for joining me today with my first official podcast episode with a guest interview. I do want to apologize up front. The sound quality is a little rough as I was learning on the first couple interviews the best procedure for recording. So this first interview has some mic handling noise that could be a little distracting. So Frank, I apologize for that. And I want to also thank you for being the guinea pig and my first person to interview. But sit back and enjoy this interview with Frank Gross, the owner of Thunder Road Guitars in West Seattle. Hello, and thanks for joining me today. I'm here with Frank Gross from Thunder Road Guitars. Frank, would you mind telling me kind of who you are and what do you do?
My name is Frank. I own Thunder Road Guitars in West Seattle, and we buy and sell guitars in its simplest form.
Sure. Well, how did you get into owning a guitar store? What's kind of your background?
So I grew up playing guitar and playing in bands and everything, and when I was a teenager worked at another music store in town at a pretty young age when a lot of my friends were bagging groceries or working at a movie theater, and just kind of continued doing that, continued playing in bands, and just kind of woke up one day years later and had a desire to kind of do it myself. So here we are.
Very cool. I mean, how, you're a relatively new company, new business. I mean, how have things been going, that first year versus, now it's your third or fourth year?
So we're going on our fifth year and have technically moved twice. We got our start as an solely internet-based company, just doing online sales through our website, and operated out of the Active Space building. And then at the end of 2012, moved into 3916 California, which is about 5 blocks from where we're at now, in a much, much smaller building. And at that point, we were kind of local retail and still doing online sales. And then this last summer, we moved into the building we're in now, and have been here since June of last year.
Very cool. Now, with the moving to a more highly trafficked area and stuff, I mean, what has the difference been in the business you've seen so far?
Well, the biggest catalyst for moving was we needed more space. The other building we were in was great when we first moved in, but by the time we moved out, we were like totally busting at the seams. And we'd looked pretty diligently for a new building for about a year, and just kind of was really picky about what we wanted and the size and everything. And then when this building came up available, it was more space than we needed and probably a little bit more than we were hoping to spend, but it's worked out really well, and yeah.
Awesome. You foresee yourself in this space for a while?
That's the hope, yeah. I mean, I don't want to have to move again. I would say however long I continue doing this, we'll still be in this building. Sure. So unless something out of our control happens, like the building sold or torn down or something.
Sure. Now, being a musician and playing in bands is quite a bit different than being a business owner. I mean, how did that transition work, and how did you learn to run a business?
You'd be surprised. I played in a few bands that I guess technically we were business owners, but it was kind of more so just kids that didn't really know what they were doing. Sure. But we, one of the bands that I was in, we, kept track of like merch sales, and were kind of responsible for, being on tour and how much we took in versus how much we were spending. And sure. That probably helped more so than anything in terms of kind of understanding to kind of be frugal when you start something from scratch and whatnot. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's very, very different. Kind of playing in bands and everything, you can kind of just do it, and if you don't make a living doing it, you enjoy doing it and it's fun. But with something like, owning a business, there's responsibilities. You have to pay rent, your staff, and everything. So, yeah, it's just different.
Sure. What would you say your favorite thing about what you do here is?
My favorite thing about what I do is connecting people with an instrument that they've been looking for a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And that happens pretty often, where somebody's on our site or they come in the store and they see something that they've been looking for a long time, and we're able to connect them with it. With doing internet business, I mean, we ship guitars and amps all over the world, so the likelihood of us having something that somebody in Norway is looking for, and being able to connect it with that, it's really cool.
Sure. What would you say the ratio of online business versus brick and mortar businesses?
Right now we're about 50-50. When we first opened our old location, it was like 90-10, 90% online and 10% in store. And that's throughout the years has kind of evened out a little bit more.
Sure. What would you say makes Thunder Road Guitars stand out from the other guitar stores in the area?
Well, we're not necessarily reinventing the wheel. I mean, the idea of buying and selling guitars is there's lots of businesses that do that. I think one of the things, if we're just talking about stores in Seattle, we just do vintage and used stuff. We don't really do a lot of new stuff. Obviously, we sell new accessories and do a handful of new pedal lines, but we kind of just try to focus on doing vintage and kind of cool, unique used stuff. And try to do it in a clean and professionally merchandised environment. A lot of times music stores, not stores in Seattle, but just in general, music stores, it's kind of a normal thing to walk in and things are kind of dirty and like usually things aren't priced and there's stuff hidden behind other stuff, and so we try to not do that.
With the being kind of specialized, kind of niche market of used and vintage guitars, there's not too many of those locally. Do you guys all kind of know each other and network, or are you guys all kind of...
Yeah, it's kind of like a big weird family. It would be the best way to describe it. Before I opened this store, worked in another store in town called Emerald City Guitars that has been open for 20 years. Chad, my partner that runs the bass portion of our store, co-owned a shop also in Pioneer Square called Bass Northwest for 20 years. And they also did vintage and used stuff as well as new stuff. But yeah, everybody kind of knows everybody, and a few times a year there's local guitar shows, and a lot of the stores as well as customers kind of will gather and it's kind of like a trade show, but for instruments, and that's kind of like almost like a big family reunion in a lot of ways. So yeah.
Very cool. Well, I love what you're doing with the space and being centrally located in West Seattle. If someone wants to get a hold of you or have more questions for you, how they do that?
They could go to our website. It's just thunderroadguitars.com. We also have an eBay page, a reverb.com page, Gbase. Those are a bunch of websites that are kind of targeted at people who buy instruments, or they can just come in. We're open 6 days a week. And,
very cool. Yeah. And what's the address here?
Address is 4736 California Avenue Southwest.
Well, that wraps up the first episode of the C-Town podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe in iTunes and leave a review, as well as share it with a friend. It's especially important in the first couple of weeks of a new podcast to do that in order for it to rank well on iTunes. So I appreciate it, and until next week.